Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at Craven Cottage has just restarted for the second half. It's goalless between Fulham and Burnley. And Fulham certainly the better side after the first 45 minutes. They had to ride a bit of a start from Burnley where the visitors saw a lot of the ball. The first 10 minutes, Fulham only had 22% possession, but Burnley didn't really have anything to show for it. And as the first half wore on, it just became more and more difficult for the visitors to do anything in terms of an attacking force. And we'll have to wait and see just how Burnley approached the second half, because they just weren't quite... As they're trying to play out from the back now, they almost lose the ball at the edge of their own box. Berge just about recovering after a loose ball from James Trafford, but that would have been a disaster for Burnley inside the first 30 seconds of the second half. But so they do get the ball away from their own box, and a chance now for them to go on the attackers as Wilson Odobert with a Vitinho down the right-hand side. The ball gets to the edge of the area, a strike comes in and it's just wide. Oh, it's sat up perfectly for Amdouni. He really put his foot through it as well. But unfortunately for Burnley, the shot goes wide. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Matt Guy taking into the action. Matt, almost a disaster for Burnley in the mistake at the back, and then nearly scoring at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fortunate moment, isn't it, the way the ball that just falls for Amdouni. But tell you what, when you see your name in lights and the ball is bouncing just in front of you and you want to hit it on the half volley, it could not have fallen more perfectly. He just comes across it. Just
slices it a bit, but Burnley win it back here after it goes for goal. What a strike that is! And Burnley are in front inside the first 90 seconds of the second half, and it's Wilson Odobert with the strike. Burnley won the ball back in midfield after Fulham were trying to play out from the back. Odobert gets to the edge of the area, sends a curling effort into the top corner right in front of those travelling Burnley fans. What a start this is for the Clarets.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant finish, isn't it? From outside the box, Bernd Leno, he's just watching on. He can't do anything about that one. It's a wicked strike. It's a better strike than they had in the whole of the first half, isn't it? Just a shock out of the blue. They've just thrown bodies forward for the first time in this game. They've won it back so high. And what a curling effort that is. He's used Calvin Bassey in front of him, almost like a guide, hasn't he? Turned it around him. What a finish.
Well, it's superb. I think it's Amdouni that wins it back in midfield. The ball then reaches Odobert. He plays a lovely 1-2, just a little deft touch there from Lyle Foster, which allows Odobert to get on the end of that, and then his strike into the top corner, beating Bernd Leno. So the perfect start for Burnley inside the first 90 seconds. A sort of conservative round of applause from company. He's not leaping up in the air, sort of Klopp or Hasenhüttl style, but he was certainly very happy to see that goal go in. And Burnley are on the attack again after Fulham restarted. I will tell you the two 11s. I'll tell you the visitors 11 first, because Burnley have actually made a change. They've got James Trafford in goal, then a back four of Vitinho, Dara O'Shea, Jordan Bayer and Charlie Taylor. The two holder midfielders are still Berge and Josh Brownhill, but now there has been a change on the right. Mike Tressor has come on to replace Jakob Brun-Larsen. Zeki Amdouni's in the number 10 role. The goal scorer Wilson Odobert is on the left, with Lyle Foster as the front man. I'll do the Fulham 11 in just a moment, because they are on the attack now. There's no changes for the Cottagers. It's Anthony Robinson with the cross from the left hand side, just a bit too high for Harry Wilson. Still kept in play here by Castagna on the right hand side, swapping a quick pass with Andreas Pereira. Tom Kearney is on that right hand side as well now, looking to try and get maybe a left footed ball into the box. No, he prefers to go back towards the halfway line for Adebayo and Bassey. And now Iwobi back into Kearney. So the Fulham 11 is Bernd Leno in goal, a back four of Timothy Castagna, Tosin Adebayo, Calvin Bassey and Anthony Robinson. It's João Palhinha and Tom Kearney as the two holder midfielders, with Harry Wilson and Andreas Pereira and Alex Iwobi as the three ahead of them. Rodrigo Muniz, I should say, is the man up front. There's also been a goal at the City ground. Matt will tell us about that in a moment, but here comes a cross for Fulham into the box. Looking at Robinson, it's cleared back into midfield, and Fulham go back towards their own goal.
Yeah, in that Forest game, Forest have taken the lead in that one. Still waiting confirmation as to who it's for, but they made a change at half-time too, so maybe that's the way that things go, isn't it? They make a change at the start of the half, just like in this one, and then the goal comes straight after. Hudson-Odoi's come on for Mangala, so attacking change.
Absolutely, although I should point out, you very kindly showed me a replay at half-time of the second yellow that Willy Bolly got in that game. And it's a shocking decision. He wins the ball, gets trodden on, and somehow gets booked for a second yellow card. So, as I say, English referees living up to the reputation again this weekend. But meanwhile, in our game, it has to be said, a lot was made before the start about Rebecca Welsh being the first female referee to do a Premier League game, and she is refereeing the game this afternoon. But so far, she's having the perfect game for a referee, in that that she's there, but she's not getting involved too much because the game is flowing. Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Elanga with the Forest goal. Yes, she's been fantastic today. It would have been a shock to the blue to her to see Burnley go into the lead in this game as well, isn't it? Because, it buys it into it for the neutral. It means that she can almost stay in one side of the field, because Fulham are
just going to pile forward.
You'd imagine it's going to be one-way traffic now as Fulham try and get back into this game. A cross coming in from deep from Andreas Pereira is dealt with, and now it's goal scorer Odobert that goes back towards Vitinha. His pass, well stopped, brilliantly played there by Amdouni to control the ball and then try and fire a pass down the right-hand side for Lyle Foster. But his South African teammate Foster wasn't quite expecting that one. And the ball now back with Fulham in midfield here. It's Kearney over towards the left-hand side as Iwobi trying to drop his shoulder there to beat his man. I think he might have actually had the ball deflected back onto him, so it's going to be a throw-on to Burnley now down the right-hand side. And so there is no goalless game in the Premier League now. Fulham trailing here at home to Burnley. Luton a goal up at home to Newcastle. Nottingham Forest a goal up at home to Bournemouth. Tottenham were up by 2-0 against Everton. We're getting word of a potential goal back there for Everton. And Spurs have had a bit of previous this season in letting leads slip. So if Everton were able to get a quick goal back there at the start of the second half, it could be game on.
Yeah, absolutely. Everton are not out of that game. I heard from our colleagues that Everton were pretty good in the first half. It was just that Spurs were more clinical. But as you say, that has turned. Everton have got one back. That could be a really spicy finish to that game. It
really could. And Spurs, of course, even though they're a side really aiming for the top, that sort of psychological doubt is going to creep in because they have let so many leads slip already this season. So we'll wait and see how that one plays out. That game, of course, and all the other games, 3 o'clock games, are available on our service, as indeed is Liverpool against Arsenal. Very much looking forward to that one at 5:30 today. But Burnley now trying to get the ball away from their own penalty. Charlie Taylor rolling a ball in towards Amdouni, and now Amdouni does really well, gets away from a couple of players, heads towards the penalty area, and he spots a pass. It's a bit of a wide pass, but Odobert should still be able to keep this in play. He has options inside the penalty area, Wilson Odobert. He's also got Vitinho just waiting at the edge of the area. That's where the pass has gone. Back to Wilson Odobert. It's Brownhill that picked him out there, and Odobert now trying to get away from Robinson, but Robinson stands his ground and deflects the ball out for a corner. But that's a good response from Burnley after a couple of minutes of attack from Fulham. And it was Calvert-Lewin, by the way, that has scored the goal for Everton to get them back into that one.
Yeah, absolutely crucial goal for Everton. See if they can pull themselves back. But we spoke about confidence in the first half of this game at Craven Cottage, and Burnley have really fed off that from that goal, haven't they? They've been fabulous in their breaks forward. I think they've made more counter-attacking breaks in the second half already than they did in the first.
Yes, absolutely. They are trying to be a bit more expansive now, and it's going to be an out-swinging corner from the substitute. Mike Tressor aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. There was, I think it was Bayer who was closest to that one, but it was headed away just as the Belgian was trying to go for that one. And in the end, it's away, the German, I should say, and in the end, it's away for a throw-on. But meanwhile, there's a VAR review in that game between Spurs and Everton, and there's also been a goal at the City Ground. We'll confirm the goal scorer at the City Ground in just a second, but in the meantime, the goal for Everton has been chalked off.
Yeah, absolutely. A foul, apparently, according to VAR, so disallowed, unfortunately, for Calvert-Lewin and Everton, so they'll have to go back to the drawing board, still waiting for that, of course, confirmation of that Bournemouth goal. But
yes, absolutely. Bournemouth are level now away at Nottingham Forest. Forest down to 10 men in that game as well, so we're just waiting to see. Is there another one for Solanke? He's been in some great form recently. But Burnley are in some good form here as well. They're pushing on down the right-hand side. Odobert stopped by Robinson this time, and it was actually Robinson's touch onto Odobert. It's a throw on to Fulham now. And as they're pushing forward down the left-hand side, it's Rodrigo Muniz who's brought down by Dar O'Shea. And Fulham take this free kick, probably even too quick for their own liking here. But Iwobi body checks Vitinho, no foul. And Vitinho comes back and wins his side and at least concedes a corner, but nothing else. I was thinking that perhaps that free kick was taken so quickly that even Iwobi won't be able to react to it, but in the end he's able to get his side a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. He was really strong, wasn't he, against Vitinho. To be fair to him, gets back to his feet and chases really well to get a foot in. In fact, I think it should have been given as a goal kick off Iwobi last.
Vitinho was asking for it, wasn't he? But the referee made her mind up very quickly that it's going to be a corner. She's not got the assistant referee on that side to help her either. Corner kick's been taken short, and it's Andreas Pereira now playing it back towards the edge of the area. Kearney being closed down, couldn't quite get that ball back into the box straight away. It's with Wilson and Iwobi now down the left-hand side, and Alex Iwobi back towards Tom Kearney, playing it square now to Anthony Robinson. Back to Kearney again, looking at options, now firing a ball into the box. It's headed away towards the edge of the area. There's going to be a thundering effort coming in from Adarabioyo, but he was sort of partially charged down by Foster, but it worked out well for Burnley because it means they can just take the sting out of that Fulham attack. And although they didn't have any players further up to try and go on the counter, the ball now is played back towards Trafford. He's been closed down there by Muniz, and he's able to get the ball away. But his clearance goes straight to Anthony Robinson. And here come Fulham again in midfield now with João Paulinho towards the edge of the area. The ball is only partially cleared. Kearney now has it. Flicking it back towards Robinson. And things just slowing down for Fulham here in midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Goal scorer for Bournemouth was, in fact, that man, Dominic Solanke, of course, scored against Luton. Before that was chalked off due to the abandonment as well. So he's got himself back on the score sheet. Great form.
Yes, absolutely. And he really has been in some great goal-scoring form this season, just as Bournemouth's form has been picking up. Solanke's has as well. We're at 55 minutes here, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Fulham 0, Burnley 1. And it is Fulham in possession inside the Burnley half, albeit they had to go back into their own half now with Robinson back towards Bassi and Adarabioyo. So with Castagna now on the right-hand side in towards João Paulinho. And Paulinho getting it back here from... was trying to keep that ball in play. It's gone out for a throw, and Burnley are claiming it should be their ball, and the referee agrees. Fulham aren't too happy with this. Neither is Marco Silva. So he's been looking for more consistency from his Fulham side this season. They win it back very quickly, though, after that throw on to Burnley. It's with Harry Wilson now, who gets brought down, and he was fouled, although I thought the ball was won there. And certainly a couple of the Burnley players are a little bit surprised by this decision. The free has been taken very quickly, and here come Fulham now down the right-hand side, heading towards the penalty area. Was Pereira. Into Wilson now. Kearney over to the left-hand side for Robinson, who skips away from Odobert, but he can't skip away from Vitinho. Burnley now have it back, but that's a terrible pass in midfield there it was Lyle Foster giving it away, but then Fulham return the favour, and they give the ball away at the edge of the Burnley penalty. It's a bit chaotic from both teams at the moment before Burnley finally get a foot on it and just calm things down. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it, how one team will feed off another, whether that be quality or terrible passing. Two awful passes, weren't they? I mean, Robinson, he lost the ball initially and tried to fight back and get back into the game. Did really well. Bournemouth taking a chance here. Burnley, sorry.
But Burnley were certainly taking a chance. They were exchanging passes at the edge of their own 6-yard box on the diagonal with Fulham pressing. But now Burnley are playing out from the back, and there's going to be a free kick and a yellow card here for João Paulinho. He's tripped Sander Berge as he was crossing the halfway line. No attempt to play the ball, and that is, in terms of refereeing decisions, that's about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. A defensive midfielder running across the ankles of the man that's already run past him and flicked the ball with it. It's a guaranteed yellow, isn't it, for João Paulinho in that one. So he'll have to watch himself for the rest of the game. But you can sense a little bit of frustration in this Fulham side now. You said that Marco Silva wanted a little bit more consistency. I think they have been all right in this game, haven't they? They've not played bad.
No, they haven't played bad in the game. I think in terms of their form, I mean, the way they played in this game has been fine in terms of the possession, just lacking a little bit in terms of the final third, and then conceding a sort of sucker punch goal at the start of the second half. But I think in terms of the season, there's been some games where Fulham have been excellent this season, and there's been some games where they've been really drab as well. And Burnley on the attack here as well, as the cross comes in from the left-hand side, but the attempted header there. Berge is a big player; he knows how to head the ball, but on this occasion the Norwegian international heads it wide from goal.
Yeah, absolutely crucial goal in the Championship, by the way. Leicester have taken the lead at home against Rotherham. Of course, the early game was on this service in the Championship. Leeds United 4-0 winners against Ipswich.
Absolutely, plenty of people with coupons and accas will be breathing a sigh of relief for that one. I'm sure Leicester would have been a banker for many a person this afternoon, as Fulham now trying to get the ball away from their own box. It's Adarabioyo's clearance up towards the halfway line. Headed away, though, from Rodrigo Moniz, and it's Burnley back in possession here. Over towards O'Shea now. Sends a long ball down the right-hand side. Good header away by Robinson. It will be a throw to Burnley. Relatively close to the Fulham penalty area now, so a chance to try and send a few players further forward. Vitinho is across to take this one. Just waiting to see where his... teammates are setting up. There's not too much activity in front of the penalty area here for Vitinho. Does get a throw in, but that one doesn't quite reach Odobert. It's cleared, and there's going to be a foul here. Should have been a foul here for Fulham, and there will be a bit of a delay there from the referee, but there was a clear push from O'Shea in the back of in the back of Muniz, and the referee has now spotted that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, strikers, they know how to act in those positions, don't they? They will back in at the right moment. They will take a step forward and fall over at the right moment. But as a defender, you've got to be wise to that. You've got to sense that moment coming, not put in too much contact, and just allow them to drift forward. And unfortunately for Dara, O'Shea's fallen folly for that.
He has, and he's fallen for that one. But just looking across at the other Premier League games, there are goals flying in elsewhere. Newcastle are now level at Kenilworth Road, just waiting for confirmation of the goal scorer, and Bournemouth are now in front at the City Ground. So Forest started the second half with 10 men. They took the lead on 46 minutes. They were pegged back on 50 minutes, and now on 57 minutes, Forest are trailing. So, as I say, maybe this is a sign of the sort of mad sort of games they're going to have under Nuno Espirito Santo now.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I suppose a man down due to Willy Bowley, you'd expect Bournemouth to come out away with the 3 points in that one, but maybe they just needed that Forest goal to give them a kick up the backside.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, and you've got to credit Bournemouth as well, because they started the season very badly. You have to say that they looked like a team that was sort of lacking direction, but the owner came out and says, look, it's on me. I want this style of play. I trust this manager. And you've got to say the last 6 or 7 games, things are starting to work out for Bournemouth now. They're looking a lot better. And it is Dominic Solanke. He's on a hat-trick now as well, the former Liverpool man in that game. There's a VAR check in the game between Luton and Newcastle with potential offside there. Getting back to action here at Craven Cottage, though, there was a bit of a melee there. I think the referee is going to show a yellow card. It was Kearney getting away with the ball, and as he's played that, he's just body checked by Amdouni. That's quite a cynical one, because to me, Amdouni should be able to see that pass is gone. He's never going to get that ball anyway. Yeah,
Sander Berge was the nearest man, wasn't he? And Amdouni almost comes across to help and was too active in the way that he's gone to tackle. In fact, just noted on our screens there, Jordan Bayer is being indicated as a yellow carding man. Don't know whether that one's for dissent. Free kick taken, goes through to the goalkeeper.
I just wonder. We'll double check on that. But it was definitely Amdouni that committed the foul. So whether or not there's been some back chat, but Burnley were playing out from the back and they've lost the ball in front of their own box. There's a great chance here now, as there was Moniz trying to get that ball back with João Paulinho. It's been cleared out for a throw. Burnley just about avoiding far more serious problems there, and we can see Lyle Foster sort of wagging his finger towards either the defence or the keeper, saying, look, we're not going to play out from the back like that because we're going to give the ball away. As we see what was happening as the ball was picked up here by Rodrigo Moniz. I mean, he's claiming there was a handball there from Foster as Foster was stopping his run. That's why a couple of Fulham players were talking to Rebecca Welsh, but there's never a handball there. No,
he's touched the ball with his arm, not the defender in that position. Yeah, cynical really to ask for it. VAR will just double check, but yeah, that's never going to be a penalty. Just seeing another replay now. It's popped up off Muniz's knee, then it's hit his hand.
Well, I mean, has it hit? Well, it was close to his arm. I'm trying to see whether or not he actually hit his arm, or maybe potentially hit his.
He's the attacker anyway, isn't he? So
absolutely, but the ball is now back in play, and Fulham are now back in possession. Looking at what's happened in the other games, the Newcastle goal was disallowed for offside. It was Alexander Isak who was in an offside position, but the Bournemouth goal stands, so they are now 2-1 up away at Nottingham Forest. It's still 2-0 to Spurs against Everton after they had a goal disallowed in the second half for an offside. Leicester have gone 2-0 up against Rotherham now, just to confirm early payouts all over the place, but that was always going to be a game that Leicester would be looking to win. They're trying to extend their lead at the top after Ipswich in second place quite convincingly lost to Leeds United in the earlier game in the Championship today. 4-0, by the way, in case you didn't know, Leeds beating Ipswich Town. But back here at Craven Cottage, Burnley working very hard to try and frustrate Fulham, and it's worked because Iwobi's lost the ball here, and a chance now for Burnley to break down the right-hand side. Odobert plays it into the middle where Amdouni is pushed off the ball. Well, Amdouni felt he was being pushed off the ball. Kearney said he didn't push him off the ball. The referee agreed, and then Amdouni grabbed the ball, and as is so often the case, the player holds onto the ball expecting a free kick, and the free kick goes against him for handball. Yeah, absolutely. Just looking back at various different media outlets, they've all got Jordan Bayer down as the yellow card and not Amdouni. I don't know whether it's mistaken identity or what. They've confused the shirt number 5 with the shirt number 25. I mean, Amdouni and Bayer aren't exactly twins, are they? They look very different, but in the meantime, there's going to be a change for Fulham. It's Carlos Vinicius who's coming on. He's going to replace Andreas Pereira. And that's quite an interesting... In fact, I'll take you back. There's a double change here for Fulham. It's going to be Carlos Vinicius and Bobby Decordova-Reid who are going to be coming on. And Decordova-Reid is on the field. So it's Muniz and Pereira going off. It's Decordova-Reid and Carlos Vinicius to go on. Lyle Foster is also being replaced here for Burnley. He's getting a bit of... an early bath. I'm just going to wait and see who he's going to be replaced by here, the South African international. It's going to be Jay Rodriguez. So it's a like-for-like swap. It's not as if Burnley are shutting up shop, but I suppose Foster, he's run around a lot today, but hasn't really had too much to show for it in front of goal. So potentially with Burnley wanting to hold on to this lead and trying to catch Fulham on the counter. Maybe just having a real sort of sniper in there in the form of Jay Rodriguez potentially would be the way to go. But both managers making these changes with 26 minutes to go, so they want to have plenty of time for them to have an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense, doesn't it? The change for Vinicius for Meunier up top. Meunier has been frustrated all afternoon. I don't think he's set on which one he'd rather play. Marco Silva, of course, Jimenez usually starts, but he's out suspended today. And the change did Odobert, of course, scored, didn't he, at Anfield recently, so he's been in some good form. He brings something a little bit different, whether that will switch Harry Wilson into the middle, perhaps even Iwobi, or whether Odobert himself will play in behind, not too sure. It allows them a little bit more flexibility, perhaps. And as for Burnley, Foster's run around a lot and tried to link up top, hasn't he, with Amdouni. It's not quite worked. Jay Rodriguez looks an experienced character. If he gets the opportunity, he probably takes it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay Rodriguez is going to have a good 25 minutes now, and he's a proper Burnley lad. Went off to Southampton, has come back to Burnley now, as Burnley win it back in midfield. Fulham are giving it away in midfield. There's a chance coming in, a shot coming in, and Sander Berge makes it 2-0 to Burnley. It's come from absolutely nowhere. Burnley have won the ball back in midfield. Berge has pretty much run in a straight line towards the edge of the area. No one closes him down, sweeps it with the right foot into the bottom corner, and with 24 minutes to go, Burnley potentially starting to wrap things up.
Yeah, absolutely. No reaction from Vincent Kompany on the sidelines, and no surprise there. It's a brilliant strike, isn't it, in the end? But twice now, Fulham, architects of the downfall in the middle of midfield, giving the ball up, and Fulham, Burnley showing their quality in shooting from distance. That confidence that they've suddenly found from nowhere in this game. He's got nobody around him.
He picks it up on the halfway line and he runs all the way to the edge of the D with no one even attempting to tackle him. That's what's going to infuriate Marco Silva and the Fulham fans, for that matter, as well, because Sander Berge isn't exactly known for ranging long runs and strikes from outside the box. That's not to say he can't do it. Any Premier League midfielder, if you leave the whole of your half open to them, they're going to take advantage of it, and Sander Berge does exactly that. It's a lovely strike as well. Just seeing the replay, it's a side-footed effort, really measured from the Norwegian international, and gives goalkeeper Berge no chance.
Well, what I must say is they probably saw the Luton score at half-time and saw that Luton were leading against Newcastle and thought, right, we need a result today, boys. It's just sod's law, isn't it? The fact that you think you're going to have a good result in a game, and suddenly your rivals, direct rivals, go and get a win as well. Of course, I'm projecting that's how this game's finishes.
Absolutely, but then spare a thought for Sheffield United, who were level in a game against Villa last night. Then they were leading after 87 minutes and still managed to concede a late equaliser. If they'd have won that game, of course, that could have really shaken up the bottom three even more.
Yeah, and of course it drags Nottingham Forest in once again, doesn't it? Of course, we're ahead, now behind, and switch of managers. So it drags them
it's really interesting that this season the fight for the top is so open, with 3 or 4 teams potentially still fighting for the title, and at the bottom it was almost sort of more set in stone, but now there's a few other teams being dragged in, and the newly promoted sides are all starting to show a little bit more fight as well. Now Burnley certainly are this afternoon in the way that they're playing, but they've got some defending they're going to have some defending to do now, you'd imagine, until the end of this game, as Iwobi sends a very hopeful and not particularly accurate ball into the box. Easy save there for James Trafford. So we're at the 3-quarter mark in this game. It is Fulham 0, Burnley 2, and it will be Matt to take us through to full time. Yeah,
cheers, Paul. I think we're going to see a set rhythm in this game now, aren't we? If it wasn't all to do for Fulham before, it certainly is now. 2 goals down, perhaps unexpectedly so, given the fact that they were the better team in the first half. Many won't have thought that Burnley would get anything from this game, but they only need to hang on now and keep a clean sheet if they can, of course, but even if they concede one, they could still pick up the 3 points in this game, and what an opportunity it is for Vincent Kompany. Side ball at the feet at the back for Fulham. They have all the attacking impetus to put now into this game, as Anthony Robinson tries to play a ball down the left-hand side, but it's been blocked forward by Odobert, the first goal scorer. Now it's gone for a goal kick. Some glum faces on the fans around Craven Cottage, including those celebrity fans, the likes of Hugh Grant, of course, but I'm sure there's a smile on the face of England international cricketer James Anderson somewhere in Craven Cottage. We've seen him, of course, Burnley fan. His team leading 2-0 in his travels. Good ball from Iwobi to find Robinson. Strong challenge comes across, though. That's good work from Dar Roche, and the clearance will come down that right side, looking for Jay Rodriguez, can't quite link up with him, and Bassi will step across. Just to remind you of the scores around the grounds also on this service. West Ham beat Manchester United in the early kick-off in the Premier League. Luton are beating Newcastle 1-0 at Kenilworth Road. Forest, 10-man Forest, are losing by 2-1 at home against Bournemouth, and Tottenham Hotspur are leading 2-0 against Everton. Everton had that goal chalked off in the second half through VAR, as have Newcastle. Of course, the late game also on this service is Liverpool against Arsenal. Long ball forward down the left hand side for Fulham, searching ball for Iwobi, cuts inside on his favoured right foot, looks for a quick 1-2, turn from Kearney, turn once again from Kearney, lays it off to Iwobi, good feet from him, but he's not found himself a shooting opportunity just yet. There's Kearney again, just stands on the ball asking for some movement. Decode over Reed is the only moving party. Find himself on the ball, quick 1-2 with Bassi, releases the ball to the right hand side, stepping inside is Tosin Adebayo. He then tries to slide in, big challenge over on the far side. Referee might want to have a look at that one again. Such long legs for the Fulham defender. The player's been stopped though as Fulham take a quick free kick. Looks as though Trezor is hurt after that tackle from the Fulham centre half. We're just going to see a replay. He's caught way upfield and he's sliding towards the ball. He leaves a foot in.
Ooh, I mean, he's getting the ball though, isn't he? Adebayo. That's the issue there. But Trezor has certainly felt that. You can see that Adebayo is still trying to argue that there was no intent, and I agree with him. I don't believe there was any intent to do anything there, but doesn't stop Burnley captain Josh Brown just having a quick word with our referee.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, he's presented the studs to the opposition player, that's no doubt, but his heel is on the floor, and he's met his studs with the full face of the ball. Doesn't actually cause contact with the Burnley man, so that won't even be a free kick. I think the throw-in will be allowed to be retaken for Fulham over on the far side. In fact, it will. Throw-in taken down the line, crossed in towards the near post. Vinicius stoops towards it, tries an inventive little header towards the front post. James Trafford watches it and sees it pop up perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it's straightforward enough for James Trafford, but this is where Burnley have to be very careful. With 18 minutes still to play, plus injury time, a goal for Fulham now wakes up Craven Cottage, gives the Fulham players something to fight for, and then it puts Burnley under even more pressure. So the longer they can keep things up in midfield and not allow Fulham to just park outside their penalty area, the better. But here come Burnley now with the potential attack themselves.
Yeah, Amdouni trying to dribble through the middle of the park, can't quite squeeze a pass away in the end. What do they say? 2-0, the most dangerous lead in football, as Trezor on the left-hand side. Pass comes inside, deflected away from Berge, and in comes Iwobi, chopping inside on his right foot, but the Burnley man, the second goal scorer, is able to get a good foot on that one and knock it out for a throw on the near side. Just looking at the first half stats, Fulham had 12 shots to 1, but in the second half it's been 5 shots to 2 in favour of Burnley. So they've dominated the shot count in the second half, and with 2 shots from outside the box, they have scored 2 goals. Fantastic finish it was from Wilson Odobert at the start of this second half, doubled by the simple pass into the bottom corner by Sander Berge to the left-hand side. Burnley clear, kept in play by Bobby Decode over Reed, and Fulham will recycle possession on halfway. Bassi out to the left for Robinson. As Trezor for company, so goes down the line to Iwobi, continues his run, and a good run as well. The American chance to cross, whips it near post, and Dar Rocher with a diving header just nods the ball away from his front post.
He does in the end, but Burnley having to quickly track back there as they were pushing forward. Fulham then getting into the penalty area, and it was a quick header out from O'Shea that needed to be dealt with. They needed to deal with that ball in as Fulham take a corner short.
Yeah, Wilson into Iwobi, back to Wilson, clips it far post, nobody's there, it's over everybody's head, poor cross in the end. Palhinha slides in. Who did that come off last? The linesman says it came off the Burnley defender. Palhinha, quick throw, miscommunication as the ball is smashed into the sky by Josh Brown. I think trying to clear the stand perhaps to slow the game down. The ball boy or girl just gets the game back underway again as Palhinha receives the throw-in. Back it comes into the middle of midfield as Kearney takes it one way and drops his shoulder, goes the other, slides one through to the right-hand side. Good defensive work there from Trezor. Offside flag comes up in the end, and that Burnley defence has held a really good line.
They have held a good line, or potentially Fulham haven't quite been able to work out the line, but the main thing for Burnley is they've stopped another attack. That's another minute of Fulham possession that's led to nothing, and that's all good news for Burnley. As we can see, Vincent Kompany in discussion, they're trying to work out potentially what he could do next. I mean, there are still a few options for him in terms of trying to get players on. There's still Zaori, Roberts, Cullen, Obafemi, Redmond, Delcroix and goalkeeper Muric on the bench. So if he wants to bring up players to sort of fill out the midfield and the defence, he can still do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be eyeing another victory this season. Of course, they've beaten Sheffield United, they've beaten Luton. That was the first point, wasn't it? Beat those teams that are around you at the bottom of the table, but they needed results against others. They picked up a draw against Brighton, and 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go. You fancy them for the win against Fulham?
You do. I mean, they are certainly favourites to win this game now. And what's interesting, of course, is that this is another game away from home where they haven't been actually that good this season. They've been run off the park in a few games, but they've really held their own this afternoon. Has to be said as well that Fulham are a bit off the pace, but Burnley now on the attack.
Yeah, great ball as it from Brownhill sliding, spins it out to the left-hand side. A chance to cross. It's whipped in by Odobert towards the far post. There was a man coming in, Amdouni perhaps, but he wasn't quite quick enough on his toes. I wasn't able to drive to the far post.
Too much whip on that cross. It's a shame because there was enough space there. He's got nobody closing him down, and yet he looks up and then just... It's not the right cross there at all. Nobody is going to get close to that one. And Fulham now with a long clearance. It's over the head of Iwobi though. Fulham can't get it right now. They play out from the back. It encourages Burnley to press. They play a long ball out from the back and it goes out for a Burnley throw.
Yeah, they look frustrated and the rhythm in their play is completely gone. Maybe taking off Andrea Pereira has added to that. He was the linchpin in the middle of the park, wasn't he? Just linking everybody together, but seems just a little bit static at the moment from Fulham's perspective. Cordova-Reid battling for that one, but it's nipped away from him by Berge, and out it goes to the left-hand side for Burnley once again. Back it comes into the feet then of Jordan Bayer. We're still waiting for confirmation as to 100% certain that he picked up that yellow card earlier instead of Amdouni, but it looks like a crucial goal. Maybe they knew the scoreline at the City Ground. Forest 2, Bournemouth 2. They've pegged another one back.
They have. Still not got confirmation of the goal scorer there in that game, but big goal that for 10-man Nottingham Forest. If they can hold on to that lead, they'll be delighted, and that will certainly be a good start for Nuno Espirito Santo.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Caney standing on the ball then in the middle of the park, brings the play to the left-hand side of the field. Long ball forward from Robinson, chested down by O'Shea, clears it before Vinicius is able to challenge, flicked on again as well by Wilson Odobert. It's Charlie Wood with the... is it Charlie Wood? It's Chris Wood, sorry, isn't it? Sorry, mistaken on that one. Chris Wood, isn't it, that's managed to get that goal for Forest. Divock Origi, I believe, went off in the first half because of the red cards. They've had to take strikers off.
Yeah, they've had to sacrifice a striker to sort of balance the team again, but now we're in a position where there's still potentially 3 points to be had there for us, so we'll see how they approach this game. But here come Fulham now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can sense by us looking at the other scores that Fulham are not quite taking the game and the action to Burnley in this game. They're just not quite battering the door down as of yet. And crowd looks a little bit stale. It's a good turn from Cordova-Reid. Good pass into Iwobi. 1-2 with Vinicius. On the left-hand side is Robinson. He sees it in the box. He cuts inside and his right foot shot is there, but it's blocked brilliantly by, I think, Dara O'Shea in the middle of the box. It might have been the retreating Josh Brownhill, but a good move from Fulham. All started with that scything ball through from Bobby Cordova-Reid as the ball is at the back once again. They need more of those passes, cutting open the midfield. Here's Kearney up to Vinicius again. He just bobbles away from his shins for a second. Kearney looking forward again, chops it back into centre field. Bassi on his left foot standing on the ball. Short to Kearney once again. Burnley in a rigid formation, just holding strong at the moment. He will be on the left-hand side, inside to Ken. He continues his run. There's a former Arsenal Everton man, can't quite get there. Cut out by Vitinho, and now Brownhill can look to switch things. Big long ball out to the left-hand side. It's chested down by Trezor. It's running away from him. Who will get there first? It is that man. And Burnley regurgitate possession once again.
They do. There's real fire here from Burnley. They're winning the second ball every time, and once again the midfield's opening up for them here.
Yeah, it's a drive straight through the middle and nobody anywhere near that man. The cross comes in from the left-hand side, headed out by Adebayo. As it comes back once again, Trezor looking to shoot from distance, maybe. Looks out to the right-hand side. Finds the on-running man in Vitinho. The step over came. He chops inside, chops outside again. Cross comes to the near post. And Leno just has to make sure.
I just wonder, looking at that one live, I thought that might have been going into the side netting anyway, but Leno with the pace on that cross, it might have got a slight nick. I think Leno didn't want to take the chance, so he dives down just to make sure that it goes out for a corner. We'll see from this replay that it's it probably was going off target, but Leno couldn't take the chance, and now a good opportunity here for Burnley from the set piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Corner to come for the near side. We're closing towards the final 10 minutes of the game, and Vincent Kompany is going to make a couple more changes here as Amdouni is the first man to come of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be Zeki Amdouni and Wilson Odobert to go off here for Burnley.
Yeah, absolutely. So Odobert, the first goal scorer, and Redmond is the first man to make his way onto the field. So some experience, some Premier League know-how, and Roberts is the other change. So
yes, the other change will be Connor Roberts coming on for Zeki Amdouni. So Roberts will certainly drop into defence. Exactly where he positions himself, probably going to be on the right, or maybe as a sort of additional right wing back, right full back, just to try and slow down any attacking intent from Fulham. But right now it's Burnley with attacking intent because they've got a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Corner from the right-hand side. Another good chance for Burnley to get a third goal perhaps in this game. It will be the outswinging corner from Trésor once again, looping towards the far post. Burnley head knocks it down. It hits Bassey and he turns it away towards Iwobi on the left-hand side. He's looking forward for a counter-attack here for Fulham. With a lovely ball into the middle of the park. Here's Kearney, slides it through to the right-hand side, and Harry Wilson looks towards the linesman over on the far side and thinks, yeah, I'm not getting away with this one. Gives up his run, and Burnley win the ball back once again. Jay Rodriguez holding things up upfield. Taylor plays it out. But yeah, Roberts has just slotted to the right-hand side as Redmond is in front of him. Yeah, I think Redmond's pushing up alongside Rodriguez. Roberts is a right midfield stroke right back, and then Trésor's gone to the left-hand side. Sliding challenge by Taylor, and out for a Fulham corner.
Yeah, the pressure's going to start mounting on Burnley now, even for all the good play they've had and the attempts they've had to try and win the ball as high up the field as they can. It's unavoidable now that in these last 10 minutes it's going to start to become one-way traffic, and this is where Vincent Kompany's side really have to be careful. Here comes the corner kick for Fulham.
All hands to the deck. Corner is poor. It comes to the near post. I think it hits a Fulham player last, so they keep it in play. There's Iwobi square two. Tom Kearney opens up his left foot, looks to potentially shoot from distance, opts not to do so. Probably wise, as Iwobi stands one into the box again. It floats over everybody and it will go out of play. Is it going to be goal kick? Yes, it is. I didn't think anybody touched it, but Bassey seems certain that there was a yellow shirt.
Yeah, well, certainly there's a couple of Fulham players asking the question. Now the referee, Rebecca Welsh, is having a bit of a word with, I'm not quite sure, I think it was an issue about generally keeping an eye on the time in terms of how long it takes to take the goal kicks, the free kicks. But in the meantime, Fulham are going to make a couple of changes here. João Paulinho and Anthony Robinson are going off. And we saw Traore and so it's Ballo Traore and Harrison Reed coming on. So potentially with that yellow card for João Paulinho, probably a good idea from Marco Silva just to give Harrison Reed the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose the benefit that has been Tom Kearney's in starting the last few games has been to the detriment of Harrison Reed, hasn't it, in the anchoring midfield role alongside João Paulinho. So that's a like-for-like change in there, and a chance for Traore then up top, but for now it's Berge coming forward down the left-hand side. 6.5 minutes to go. Cuts inside to Trésor. It's square. It's Sander Berge once again shooting. Chance from distance. Oh, what an opportunity that is. He's so frustrated with himself. He knows he has to hit the target, but lifts it over the top left.
He does lift it over the bar. When you see when Redmond takes his ball on the left-hand side, he just plays a quick ball in towards Trésor. Trésor then tees up Berge, and he goes for goal, and I don't want to say he should do better because he's at the edge of the D, but a player of his quality, he's got a lot of time there as well. He probably should do better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any attacking midfielder that fancies their chances with shooting from distance that should be hitting the target there, as Reed just had to knock the ball off Redmond's shins, but it's not fallen to a player in a white shirt. So Burnley have the ball back now with Coutinho on the right-hand side, and they will play the ball back once again to the goalkeeper, just trying to slow this game down as much as possible now, and why not as well from a Burnley perspective. They're 2-0 up, holding a clean sheet, so they might as well. It's an offside flag. That's a frustrating one. Just a long ball forward, and getting caught offside when you're trying to hang on to the ball and keep a 2-goal lead. In fact, they've just given the ball away to the opposition. And talking about giving things away late on in games, Spurs have conceded. Everton, of course, had a goal disallowed through Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the 51st minute, but Andre Gomez has scored with 8 minutes to go in that one. That will be a nervy moment inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, he's been injured for so long, hasn't he, Andre Gomez? Haven't seen him too much for a very long time in an Everton shirt, but that'll be delightful for him that he's got that goal, and things are potentially getting interesting at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But here come Fulham now with a run down the left, but the cross is way too close to Trafford.
Yeah, Bayo with the cross just lifts it and it just floats into the hands of James Trafford. Of course, Andre Gomez has history against Spurs, doesn't he? I think it was Son that accidentally broke his leg, wasn't it, in that horrible moment for Andre Gomes a few years ago. Of course, former Barcelona player, was so tidy and steady.
There's been a few sort of injury incidents between those sides. Of course, it was Romelu Lukaku that accidentally ran into Lloris with his knee and then caused a concussion for Lloris, where afterwards Spurs admitted Lloris didn't actually know who he was playing for or what the score was in the game or anything, which has actually been part of the trigger for us having these much stricter concussion rules now.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightfully so as well. There's so much caution about head injuries. Cross comes in for the left-hand side for Burnley. It bounces in front of the goalkeeper. As it stayed in play, there was a nudge in the back, wasn't there, by Connor Roberts?
Well, I think the honest answer there is that it did go out of play, but that's after a push from Roberts. So I think it'd be quite difficult for the referee to give a corner kick after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Roberts is always happy to throw a little bit of a weight around, isn't he? He's an attacking fullback, that's for certain. He has played, was it right wing back more often than not, in a back five for Swansea, and also for Wales. Has not quite secured his position at Burnley as a normal right back in a four. And Vitinho, of course, coming in, has started today's game. Less than 5 minutes to go now in this game, and in truth, Fulham really look like they're battering the door down to try and get a goal back in this game, and Burnley are holding strong for the clean sheet. Here's Harry Wilson on the right hand side, slides one through into Vinicius. He's got a man coming in because he finds the pass. He goes on the overlap. It's then across the goal. It's James Trafford that goes into the air. He grabs it from the skies. It's punched out. Comes out to Vinicius once again. Turns, shoots towards goal. Over the bar it goes. A bit scrappy from Fulham on that occasion. Can't quite find the top corner. Trafford under pressure.
Trafford under pressure, but the wrong option here from the Fulham player going out wide as Vinicius gets this inside the box. He's got the overlap. Castagna's got to play that square. I can understand there's plenty of yellow Burnley shirts getting in the way, but just firing at the keeper, hoping you're going to nutmeg him and beat him at the near post, that's a hit and hope. I think there's more options here for him to try and find a teammate. There was an option to try and stop and get the ball away from Berge, but just doing that at the near post, he's not going to do anything against Trafford.
Yeah, there was a cutback option, wasn't there? There was a good movement in there by one of his teammates. Might have been Tom Kearney coming in late, of course. Attacking midfielder likes to arrive in the box late. As Harrison Reed, of course, beaten in the air by Sander Berge, as you'd expect, perhaps. As Trezor cuts inside off the left-hand side, tries to tow it towards Redmond. It's been cut out, though, by the Fulham defence, and cut out well. Here's Harrison Reed, eyes in the back of his head to make sure that he gets that ball away from Jay Rodriguez. Square it goes across the back now into Calvin Bassey. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's driving his team forward with the ball at feet, out to the left-hand side for Bayo once again. Back he comes into Bassey, and it's tidy passing work at the back by Fulham, but it's not far enough up the field as far as they're concerned. Redmond has just pulled the shirt there of Calvin Bassey, and so the foul has been given. They can just play a quick short 5-yard pass as Bayo driving down the line up against Vitinho. He's having his shirt dragged, but he's into the box now, cuts one back towards the near post. Decode over Reed, trying to get there, toes it back. Iwobi strikes from distance, it's blocked away at source, picked up by Kearney, hangs onto the ball well, finds Iwobi again on the left hand side. He's got Bassey for an option just inside him, goes inside the box instead. Kearney held up by two Burnley defenders, slowly plays the ball to Bayo, tries to chop one inside, and in the end it's Josh Brownhill who deflects that ball out for a throw-in. Taken quickly by Fulham, bit between the teeth. Of course, they need to get one back in this game, and Bayo in the end just turns it to a lawnmower and runs straight over the top of Josh Brownhill there, who'd got his body in between man and ball and pretty much stopped in the way. But
he did, yeah. I mean, he basically forced the Fulham man to either let the ball go out of play or run into him and give away a foul. And Ballo-Touré went for the second option and has given the free kick. Hannes Delcroix is getting ready to come on here for Burnley, and he's coming on for the substitute, Mike Trezor.
Wow. Well, I suppose Trezor's done his job, hasn't he? He's been attacking. He's come on in a spell where they've then got the second goal, haven't they? So he'll be disappointed by that one, but I think Vincent Kompany will have a word with him after the game and say it's not cynical, we just want more defensive players on.
Yes, it could, or it may well be cynical in terms of he's perhaps unhappy with something that Mike Trezor has done. I mean, you'd hope not. I know that generally speaking, it's probably one of the most sort of individually embarrassing things that can happen to a footballer is to come on as a substitute and then be substituted yourself. Yeah. It's something that it's not unheard of, but it is quite rare. And if it happens normally, it's down to an injury to the substitute. To have a substitute substituted for tactical reasons is actually quite rare.
Yeah, absolutely. Jose Mourinho's the type of manager that likes to just throw the cat amongst the pigeons and just whip somebody off for not reaching the standards that he expects.
Absolutely. It always reminds me of when Paolo Di Canio was Swindon manager and he took off Wes Fodringham, who was his keeper at the time, after about 11 minutes, and Fodringham had an absolute tantrum. He was furious. But here come Burnley now on the attack.
Redmond down the left-hand side across the face of goal. It's a fabulous attempt to pass that one, and it was just a pass, but it caught everybody off guard apart from Bernd Leno in the Fulham goal, who was able to just jump on top of the ball. I think Connor Roberts was flying around the far post, ready to just tap in to an empty net.
Yeah, if maybe if Rodriguez had just gambled and gone for that first pass, maybe he would have got there even before the goalkeeper did. But this is good from Burnley. They're still getting half chances to score when they're already 2-0 up, and we're about to see our fourth official, who this afternoon is Mr. Harrington. He's going to confirm how much injury time there is. I'm thinking a 4 or 5 maximum. It might be a little bit longer than that. We wait and see. It's a 6. Well, there you go then. They've been a bit generous, I think, with the injury time in this game today.
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps an outside chance for Fulham, but 2 goals in 6 minutes is a lot to ask as things stand. With the 3 points for Burnley, they would, of course, with Luton winning, stay the 1 point behind, but at least they'd only be 4 off Nottingham Forest now, of course. As for Fulham, they'd sit in 11 still, given the fact that Bournemouth are not winning, and Chelsea, of course, just in front of them. They wouldn't leapfrog above the local rivals, of course, of Fulham. Connor Roberts has just taken a knock and fallen down to the ground. He's just limping a little bit as he walks to the near side. He's the one, I think, that's given the foul away, and Tom Kearney's over the top of the ball. He's just jogging back now towards the 18-yard box. 91 minutes gone in this game, 6 minutes added time. Of course, this the first game in charge from a female referee's perspective. Rebecca Welsh, she stayed rather out of the game, and to her credit as well, the free kick comes in. It's towed by a Fulham man, but there's a foul in the middle of the box, says the referee, and a free kick goes Burnley's way, and a chance for the visitors to just clear from their 18-yard box now. Just seeing a replay now as not too sure what it was given for, actually. I don't know whether there's something in the build-up, the cameras that we see.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that last little moment we saw, I couldn't see anything wrong from Adebayo there, so potentially there was something that that the referee didn't like before. And as you can see, Vincent Kompany still barking out instructions to his players. I mean, it's been a very difficult season for him and for his side, but this will feel like an early Christmas present if they can hold on to this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the challenge, isn't it? When you're an attacking, free-flowing football side in the Championship, and suddenly you get hit by the brick wall that is the Premier League, and do you change styles? Do you not? Is being stubborn your worst enemy? Is it the way that you play out? Of course, we saw Leeds United, when they came up, they just went for it, didn't they? It worked for them, but then equally so, we've seen other teams come up and trying to play football. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's no one recipe, is there? No. Because of course it's far more open-ended than that. It depends on the team you have. It depends on how the players, sort of rise up to the occasion of being promoted. Adding the right blend of new players, but still not forgetting about the players that got you promoted, and that's sort of a spine of the team. So it is a difficult balance, but certainly something that Burnley will be hoping to get right first time. You don't want to become a sort of a yo-yo side, because eventually you can run out of those opportunities to get promoted, like Norwich City, who seem to have just stalled a little bit in the last season or two.
Yeah, absolutely. They're leading currently against Huddersfield. I mean, that's an expected result for Norwich to beat Huddersfield, but even so, Norwich have been struggling, as you say, and with players in and out and some becoming a little bit stagnated. It's just not worked for them this season. On the other end of the scale, of course, you've got Ipswich, who've been flying so far this season. They fell to the sword of Leeds United today, but of course they are in an automatic promotion race with them. 3 minutes into the 6 at a time at Craven Cottage, still Fulham 0, Burnley 2, thanks to those 2 fabulous strikes from outside the box. First from Wilson Odobert, just 2 minutes after the restart from half-time, and then on 66 at Szczerbakowicz as well, just passing into the bottom left-hand corner after he drove about 30-40 metres with the ball at his feet without a single challenge coming towards him. And Vincent Kompany has not showed a single jot of emotion this afternoon. I'm sure he'll bark a roar towards the travelling support.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you have to walk past the away fans as you sort of go across the diagonal at Craven Cottage, and I'm sure all those Burnley players and coaches make a beeline right in front of that away end. Those fans will be absolutely delighted. And fair play to them as well. A day before Christmas Eve, travelling cross-country when we know how bad the trains and the roads are at this time. It's a really good effort from those Burnley fans.
Absolutely. It's on the left-hand side. Chance for Bayo Traore, puts the ball in, turned away though by Dara O'Shea with his left boot. Here's Calvin Bassey, slips on through towards D. Cordova-Reid. I think he thought he might have been offside, and the pass has too much power on it, goes out of play. And although he's asking for a corner kick to Cordova-Reid, he's not going to be giving it. And the referee has pointed to
I just wonder, is he really convinced that it's a corner, or is it just great acting from Cordova-Reid? He thought, well, if I make a song and dance, maybe that'll put a little bit of doubt in the referee's mind. But unfortunately, as far as Fulham are concerned, it just seems that their sort of attempt to get into this game has fizzled out. Now we've got a minute of injury time left, and a lot of Fulham fans now making their way to the exits, and looks like a really good afternoon's work for Burnley.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's a few fans heading for the exit. They've looked a little bit toothless today. Fulham at times. They created two fabulous opportunities back to back, didn't they? 13th and 14th minute after being under the cosh for the first 10 minutes. But as soon as they didn't go in, then they've not really created too much, especially the second half.
No, they have struggled. In the second half, they really have struggled. That is true. And as I say, the quick goal from Burnley, sometimes the timing of a goal can be so important as well. And the fact that Burnley got that goal inside the first 2 minutes just completely would have thrown out what Fulham had planned for the second half, because they probably were planning on doing more of the same in terms of pushing back at Burnley and getting the first goal.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 seconds to go then in this game. All the Premier League games, of course, closing in at a time. And I tell you what, there might be a moment in the City ground. It looks as though Bournemouth have got a late winner at Nottingham Forest. That's a huge moment, of course, for Burnley as well. That would be massive for them, stopping Nottingham Forest getting that point. Harrison Reed on the ball here at the Craven Cottage. It's a sloppy layoff there from Vinicius. It's bobbled away from him, and Jay Rodriguez will bring this forward now for Burnley. And the full-time whistle has gone at Craven Cottage. What a huge result this is for Burnley, away from home just before Christmas, and they've stunned the Cottagers to a 2-0 loss. What an afternoon for Vincent Kompany's side. After 90 minutes at Craven Cottage, Fulham 0, Burnley 2.